Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy So What Day. I hope you're having a creative start to your week. And if not, then I hope that I can help get you in the mood to get your creative juices flowing because I have an amazing project to share with you today. There's two versions that you can create of this project using either machine embroidery or hand embroidery. And then there's also how do you say, a lot of other things you can create with today's projects, a lot of ways to put your creative spin on it, of course. That's why we come together here on So What, is to kind of bounce ideas off of each other, talk about what we're sewing, and, see how we can change things up, how we can think outside of that creative box, if you will, and make things our own and personalize them. So, okay, now I'm starting to see people saying hello. Be sure to comment on today's post or give me those great emojis. Somehow engage with the post today because I have not one, but two door prizes or, gifts, shall we say, from Sulky that I'm going to be giving away today during the live stream. That's right. And don't worry, if you are watching after we go live, I'm going to pick the winners a little bit later on today. So that gives a lot more people the chance to engage with the post and be a winner. So I will get to what those little gifties and prizes are momentarily. But first, while everybody's joining us and coming on, I do want to mention our Germany and Austria trip that we are taking with Craft Tours this holiday season. So we will be going December. Actually, I think the dates are wrong on this photo, and I keep sharing it because I keep forgetting to update the dates. So I apologize for that. It really only varies by a day here and there. I think it's December 8 to 16 now, I want to say. Anyway, all of the itinerary and all of the information about this tour is linked directly in the description for today's live stream. So you can head on over to the Craft Tours website and look for the Sulky Bavaria and Austria tour. We're going to be staying in this quaint little village in Germany for the majority of our stay. We will also be staying, I think, a night in Munich. And then we're going to be spending a couple of days in Austria. So we get to see a lot of the locations where The Sound of Music was filmed. And of course, we're going to hit up all the Christmas markets along the way. And we will be taking a special tour of the Sulky factory in Germany. So you can see how Sulky thread is made and manufactured. It's a very, very special tour for that day because this place is never open to the public. So it's quite an exclusive event or excursion, if you will. So definitely if visiting the Christmas markets in Germany and surrounding areas is on your bucket list, you want to come along to the Sulky tour because it's going to be absolutely amazing. You will be with new friends, probably some that you see frequently on So What, commenting and whatnot, because, we're all fast friends as soon as we go on these tours together. And you'll get to know some of those people and make new friends. And you can come alone. You can come with a spouse. You can come with a family member, a friend, however you would like to come. Come as you are and join us for this spectacular tour with Craft Tours. And make sure that you find the Sulky Christmas Market Tour because they have several going on because they're so incredibly popular. And if you go through the link that I put in today's post, you will be taken directly to the Sulky page of Craft Tours, where you will not only find this Christmas Market Tour, but you will also find our Greece tour. We are going to Greece in 2026. Actually, around this time next year, we will be in Greece. So if you are a fan of Mamma Mia, if you've always wanted to go to Santorini, if you want to go to Mykonos, there are so many bucket list destinations on this Greece tour. It's going to be incredible. I cannot wait. So gather your friends. gather your family members, or as I mentioned, come alone, because you won't be alone unless you really want to be. You'll be surrounded by like-minded people who like to sew and quilt and create. You'll make new friends. It's just, anyways, I can't say enough good things about these tours that we participate in with craft tours. And for both of the trips, I will be doing a special hands-on workshop where we get to sew together for a morning or an afternoon, something like this, however it fits into our schedule. And we will be making something that commemorates our travels together. We've had some really great workshops in the past, and actually, I think next week I'm going to unearth some of those so you can see some of the things that we've done together during our hands-on workshops. So really, really fantastic tours happening. As I mentioned, this Greece tour is 2026, so you have plenty of time to get on a payment plan if you so choose with craft tours, or just simply plan ahead. You have about a year of planning to do, so you can get this on your itinerary. All right. So another piece of business before we get to the tutorial for today. I hope everybody is registered and waiting for our Quilted Cork travel set summer sewing session. This is going to be activated next Tuesday. So a week from today, you will have all access to this summer sewing session. You will have tons of videos, 2 different patterns, all the ancillary materials, posts, direct links to questions and answers on our Q&A portals on every single lesson page. This is a really, really fun project set to create for the summer months and beyond. It's a little accessory set. You get a full-size wallet pattern as well as an e-reader or tablet case that matches and or coordinates. So it's really great to make both of these things, throw them in your travel bag, or simply make them to enjoy all summer long and all year round, really. With this session, we have 2 kit colorways you can choose from. The kits are totally optional because with purchase of the session, you will get both of the patterns, all of the videos, all of the sulky support, etc., that I just mentioned. If you choose to purchase a kit, we have these 2 colorways, and you will get everything you need to create both projects included in one convenient kit. So we have this Ocean Ombre colorway and the Postage Stamp colorway. These are both cork fabrics. You will also get sulky thread to construct both projects and sulky thread to embellish both projects. You'll also get 2 of these turn lock closures, which, let me just blow this picture up a little bit more. Actually, I'll take it as big as it'll go so you can see those closures. With the Ocean Ombre, you get nickel hardware for the 2 closures. And for the Postage Stamp colorway, you get antique hardware. So a little bit different finish to complement those cork fabrics best. You also get some felty interlining. That is going to give your wallet and your tablet keeper a little bit of body. And also when you quilt through all of those layers, it gives you a little bit of that cushion for a little bit more of that quilty flair. So I have been told that these kits are in very, very short supply right now. We have a week until the session is activated. That means if you're already registered, you've been waiting for your videos and your patterns and all of that, next Tuesday, everything goes live. So you'll have all access to all of the videos. It is not a live event like some of our like our webinars, our webcasts, those types of events. It is a session that you can take at any time at your leisure. And it's broken into all these sections so you can kind of do one at a time. You can kind of chunk out your sewing time when you are available to be at the machine. And the platform remembers where you left off. So if you make your wallet and you want to kind of take a break before you go to your tablet case, the platform will remember where you are. So the next time you go to log in, you find this event in your library, it will take you exactly to the part where you stopped last time. So really cool. Love that. But yes, these kits are in very, very short supply. So if you were interested in getting a second one because you received your, let's say, your ocean ombre already, you want to grab up that postage stamp. Once these kits are gone, they're gone. This ocean ombre cork in particular is no longer being manufactured. So if you're interested in that one, grab up these kits before they're gone because we will not be able to replenish that one. The postage stamp one, same goes for that. I believe that postage stamp cork would still be available, but not necessarily that jade cork that we paired it with for the coordinating accents. So these are in really limited supply now because we've been promoting it for a while now. So I just wanted to put it out there that if you've been kind of on the fence or thinking about getting your kit later, now is the time before they sell out. Sue is asking, how much are the kits? The kits are on an incredible sale deal right now. I believe they are $39.99. I'm going to double check because I don't want to misspeak. As you know, okay, I have to look up travel set. I did link directly to registering for this session. It'll be at the bottom of the description of today's post. So you'll need to click on that little see more button, or it might say more if you're watching on YouTube. And then the whole description will pop out and you'll find where to register for the cork accessory set session. And then through that, you can purchase a kit as well. The kits are on sale for $39.99. What? I mean, you all know how expensive cork fabric can be, so it's really great to buy up a kit where we give you just the piece that you need. And then throughout the session, I give you tips for creatively cutting your pieces and planning them out on the cork wrong side so that you don't make any mistakes, since we're giving you what you need. There will be a little bit left over, maybe for a key fob or something like that, but you do need to be careful in your cutting anytime that you buy a kit, really. So $39.99, it retails for $59.99. So you're saving 20 bucks if you purchase up the kit a little bit ahead of time. This sale price will only be available until the end of this month, or obviously until they sell out. So it's a great, great deal. You get, I just want to make sure you get the cork, you get 2 spools of sulky thread, the 30 weight blendables, and the 40 weight poly deco. You also get the sulky felty and those 2 turn lock closures. So a really, really great deal on this kit. Amazing. All right, so let's get to our projects today. And this is a little bit of a teaser because, well, first off, I would love to know how many of you watching today purchased up our spring mystery box that we launched a few months ago. We actually launch our mystery boxes on the first day of that season. So for example, the first day of spring is when we launched our spring mystery box. So that means the first day of summer coming up in a few weeks here, we will be launching our summer mystery box, right? So excited for you guys to see what's inside because as with all of our mystery boxes, we spend a lot of time curating these boxes, putting in some different things here and there to make the boxes a little bit different. And now we have been making our mystery boxes into project-based boxes. So that means everything in the box can be used to create one or more full projects, and then some. So not only do we provide all the materials to create a special exclusive mystery project, but you get lots of extras in there too. Some gifts from Sulky, some notions are usually included. Maybe some special, sticker or something like this for fun. So lots of things are in our mystery boxes, but since our spring box has long sold out, I thought today was a great day to show you what was in that box, what you could make from that box, and then I'm going to be reminding you over the next couple of weeks that our summer box is coming soon. So Karen says, I love a fun-filled mystery boxes. Project boxes are so fun. Love that. Anne says, we love project-based boxes. Fantastic. All right, so how much are the mystery boxes? What a great question. All right, so I just want to make sure I'm getting our retail price correct because, oops, it's a good thing I can refer to all of my notes here while we are talking, because I would hate to stray. Okay, so our mystery boxes, oops, what's happening here? Our mystery boxes vary in retail cost from box to box, but it's around the $70-ish range retail, okay? So when we bring you our mystery boxes, they are $49.99 with over $70 worth of product inside. You get full-size products. Sometimes you get pre-cut fabrics. Sometimes you'll get fabric yardage instead of pre-cuts. Sometimes you get packs of felty. It really all depends on the season and, of course, the project ideas that we are providing you as well. So obviously you don't have to create the projects that we curate the box around. You can go rogue and use the materials in the box and all of the supplies to create whatever you would like. So I'm going to show you how we kind of help you along in that journey as well. All right, so let's see. For example, our summer box, let's say, that's coming out. It'll be, I think I'm probably going to give everybody here on So What a little bit of leg up on when this box goes on sale. So as I mentioned, it will launch the first day of summer, which I believe is the 21st of this month. So I'm going to see if I can get it to you all a couple days early. Because as with all of our mystery boxes, they go so fast. And, since you are my loyal So What viewers, I want to give you a leg up and a couple days before everybody else can get their hands on it. So I just wanted to review. So this summer box coming up is a mega box. We are including so many extras in this box. And quite honestly, it's because we got a little bit carried away with the theme. And and so the retail value of our summer box is over $87. Okay, and it's still $49.99. $49.99 will be the cost, or will be what it costs to purchase one of these. So at any rate, stay tuned for more on that summer box, and I will let you all know when it goes on sale, and I will give you a little heads up, let's say. I think we'll put it on sale for So What ahead, a couple days ahead. Okay, so all that being said, when you get your box, I'm going to show you what our spring box sort of looked like, sort of, kind of. All right, so when you get your box, there's a flyer inside. This is the flyer for our spring box. We've never really shown this out there in the universe before. You had to buy the box in order to see all of this. So our garden party spring mystery box, garden party was our theme. And it comes with this flyer with a QR code. It also gives you some information on what is in the box and where to find your downloads, if there are downloads included. So, since this is a project box, with this particular mystery box, everybody got a mini quilt pattern, a machine embroidery design, and a hand embroidery design was pre-printed onto sulky stick and stitch stabilizer and included in the box. So if you didn't have an embroidery machine, you could do the hand embroidery version. And if you did have a why can't I say this? If you did have an embroidery machine, you could also use your hand embroidery transfer for a different project or mix and match. You get the idea. All right, so for this garden party mystery box, you could snap a picture of that QR code and head to our special mystery box landing page on the website, or you can head there directly using the URL that's down there. All right, so as I mentioned, a mini quilt pattern was included. This is a take on a pattern by Melanie Call of a bit of scrap stuff, and very cute mini quilt pattern. It's good size. I wish I could see the size. Let me measure it really quick because I'm sure some of you would like to know. It's about 16.5 inches square, finished. All right, so a great wall hanging size. You could use it as a table topper, all sorts of things. But I love this mini quilt pattern because the center square is perfect for an embellishment, like the Let Your Dreams Grow machine embroidery design or the hand embroidery design. You could also use that center block and do some decorative stitching. You could do some extra fun quilting in that center box and leave it free of embroidery altogether. So this pattern was included in that box. Also included were all these beautiful fabrics. Okay, so in addition to these fabrics, we also included thread and stabilizer and needles and special gifts from Sulky and all sorts of things. But look at all the fabric that was included in this box. Pre-cut 10-inch fabric squares, also some binding fabric, which I'll show you how that works momentarily, the backing fabric for this particular project, and some batting to go between all of the layers. So everything you need fabric-wise to create that mini quilt was included in the box. Now, of course, you can use this fabric for other things as well. And there was some leftover fabric. So you could create a coordinating piece of some sort, coaster, something like this. All right. So as I mentioned, you also got the machine embroidery design when you purchased the mystery box. So you'll get this design in all formats for the spring box, right? So now that our box is retired or sold out, you can now purchase this machine embroidery design as a single product at sulky.com. And with purchase of this design, you will get that mini quilt pattern for free, included together. If you purchase the hand embroidery design, you also get the quilt pattern for free, so you can kind of choose which one you would like based on your machine capabilities. All right, so, and yes, the fabrics were all from Art Gallery Fabrics. Love Art Gallery Fabrics. They have such a nice hand to them. They feel luxurious. They're so great for quilting. They almost feel like a cotton sateen or something like this. They're just really beautiful quality quilt fabrics. All right, so I'm going to take you through the process of creating this mini quilt using the machine embroidery design and all of these great fabrics. So first up, you're going to load this design into your machine. If you purchased that spring mystery box, you already have this design. If you didn't, again, you can grab the design at sulky.com and you will get the mini quilt pattern for free. So we're going to load this design into our machine. It's a rather large scale design. So keep in mind you do need a larger hoop. Let me just see. I'm going to blow this up. I used a 200 by 200 hoop for mine. And I was using a magnetic hoop as well, but you can use a standard hoop, no problem. All right. Once you have that loaded, we're going to hoop up our center fabric. So the fabric that you are going to use in the middle of the mini quilt, I chose a solid creamish, whitish, off-white fabric so that the embroidery design really pops off of it. It doesn't compete with the fabric print. So we're going to hoop that fabric with some Sulky stabilizer. You can choose Sulky Tear Easy stabilizer for this, or Sulky Stiffy stabilizer for this. Stiffy is going to add more body to that fabric because this is a really, really lightweight fabric. But I also wanted to go back to the design for a second because you can see the design has a little bit of sketchy quality to it. It's not really dense fill stitches for all the lettering. Let me just, you see that? See how the design is more sketchy. It's more layers of straight stitches than it is heavy, dense fill stitches. And that's really important when you're working with fabric that's this lightweight. We don't want to add all this thread and stitches to it. It's just gonna, it's gonna not be good for the fabric. I couldn't come up with the right words there, but this design was specially digitized in this style for this type of fabric. You could use this design on other types of fabric as well, even denim, it would be great. But if you had a super dense fill stitch design and you're trying to put it on this lightweight fabric, it's going to tear that fabric apart. I mean, not literally, but it's just going to be too heavy weight for that fabric. You're going to have to use so much stabilizer behind it that you'll lose the hand and that beautiful quality of the fabric. Okay. So once we've hooped up our fabric, you're simply going to embroider the design. I used a 60 weight bobbin thread, and then I used some beautiful 40 weight rayon thread in the needle. The rayon thread for this design also included in the mystery box. There were 3 colors for the design, and the 4th color is the white lettering that's used for the word your, that you can see here where it says let your dreams grow. I'm going to show you a little bit more of a close-up of that. All right. So this your lettering is the 4th color in the design, and it is using a 60 weight poly light thread for that lettering. You could also use that poly light thread in the bobbin as well. The poly light thread also included in the mystery box. The reason we went with the poly light thread for that lettering is because the lettering is so thin, but it's made up of those satin stitches. So a little bit denser, closer together stitches. And to keep it nice and lightweight and to keep it really nice and readable and crisp, we went to a lighter weight 60 weight thread. All right. So much to discuss for this project. All right. So here's our beautiful design all completed in the hoop. Let your dreams grow. So once your embroidery is finished, you can remove your hoop from the machine, remove your stabilizer from the hoop, and then we're going to remove our stabilizer from the fabric. So just gently tear it away. I did leave some of that stabilizer within the design for extra stability. Now we are going to layer this with batting and backing fabric and quilt it. So it's totally fine to leave some of that stabilizer in between your words. That way, when we go to hang it, we have a little bit of structure in the middle there, kind of holding everything together, keeping our stitches nice throughout the life of our project. You could go ahead and wash this and all of those things, and your design is still going to be nice and stable. All right, after we remove most of the stabilizer, now we're going to prepare the quilt blocks for, or the piecing sections for our quilt blocks. Because basically what we're doing for this wall hanging or mini quilt is we're creating one big quilt block and binding it. So first up, we're going to create some half square triangles. These consist of some of that solid fabric that's featured in the center block, as well as some of the print fabrics that are in those 10-inch squares that were included in the box. All right, so first we are going to draw a diagonal line from one corner to the opposite lower edge corner, and that's going to denote our cutting line for our half square triangles. So there we have, that is marked. I just used a friction highlighter pen. These are removed with heat from your iron. This line doesn't really matter though, because it's going to be along our cutting line. So you won't be seeing it anyways once you are constructing your block. All right, so now we're going to place that marked square right side facing one of our print fabric squares. And we're going to mark our stitching line. So to mark our stitching line, I like to use a different color of removable marking pen. That way I just don't get confused, because when you start sewing these kind of assembly line style, you might forget and start sewing down your cutting line, and we don't want to do that, right? So for me, I like a visual clue. So I made my stitching lines pink and my cutting line yellow. So you're going to draw lines a 1/4 inch away from that cutting line, ideally using a different color marking pen. All right, now we're going to stitch along our pink lines, our stitching lines, through both layers, of course, and you can use a 50 weight cotton thread here for the construction of your block, also included in the box. See all the things that you get in this box? It's crazy. All right. And yes, all the projects in all of our boxes are vastly different. You might get a quilty project, you might get a bag project, you might get an accessory project, you might get a bunch of embroidery designs, you might get some blanks, things like this. So you can't always expect to get a mini quilt or something like this. That's the mystery behind it, right? All right, so once we have sewn along those lines, then we're going to cut along that cutting line down the center. So now we have 2 half square triangle blocks. Once you've created all the half square triangles that you need, which you need 16 of them, you can trim them up a little bit so that all edges are even. Just be very mindful of your diagonal seam when you are trimming up your blocks. You still want that diagonal seam to be along the center. You don't want to cut any of that off. So it's helpful to use a clear ruler that has that diagonal marking on it. If you don't have one of those, you can take, or if your ruler doesn't have that diagonal line, you could take your ruler and put a piece of tape along that so you can align that diagonal seam and make sure you don't cut anything off, because we need to match these diagonal seams up to create our pinwheel blocks for the corners of the quilt. So now we're going to take 4 of our half square triangles and arrange them in this pinwheel formation so that our solid triangles are all looking like a cute little pinwheel. And you can arrange your print fabrics however you like on your quilt. This is your mini quilt after all, and you can, match up some of your prints or not. You get the idea. So now that we have 4 half square triangles matched up and arranged, now we can sew them together. So we're going to have, as I mentioned, 16 half square triangle blocks to create 4 pinwheel blocks. So it is helpful to kind of map all 4 of them out, just to make sure you have a good mixture of fabric prints going on in each of these corner blocks. Once you have that done, you can sew them together. Make sure that your center points all match up. First, you can sew the top 2, then the bottom 2, and then sew those together. Press it nice and flat, and you can nest your seams so that everything is as flat as you can get it. And then we will repeat that process to have all 4 pinwheel blocks. Now we can start arranging the other part of our mini quilts. So we have our corner pinwheel blocks, and then we have some sections at the top and at the sides of just 2 strips sewn together. Then we have our center block that we have now cut to size after embroidery. So you can play around here, move your blocks around until you get kind of the color combination that speaks best to you. And then we're going to sew everything together. So first up, I like to sew the upper blocks, so 2 pinwheels with a horizontal pieced section in between. Then I sew the middle blocks, so we've got our horizontal sections going the other direction, sewn to our machine embroidered center block. And then we will sew that bottom row. Then we sew all 3 sections together. Very, very important to press as you sew, making sure your seams are going either toward the darker fabric or away from center, whichever you prefer. So now we have our mini quilt top is complete. It really comes together rather quickly once your embroidery is finished. So now we get the fun part of making our quilt sandwich and quilting up this little guy. So we want to layer our backing fabric wrong side up, batting over the top of that, and then our pieced quilt top over the top of the batting. Secure all of those layers using temporary basting spray. Our KK2000 is your best choice. It's air soluble. It's eco-friendly. It has a lot of spray inside with only a little bit of air, whereas others that you might find in the marketplace have lots of air and little product. So it's amazing stuff. This is what the backing fabric looked like, by the way, that was included with this kit. Love it. I mean, it's floral, it's springy, it's beautiful. Okay. So once you have everything spray basted, notice that the batting and the backing are cut a little bit wider and longer than your quilt top. That gives you the freedom to quilt this however you like. If you want to quilt this in the hoop of your embroidery machine, great choice. And that's actually what I ended up doing. So with a mini quilt, it's a great size to do an end-to-end quilting design, or sometimes they're called edge-to-edge quilting designs, because it is this small size. I only had to do 2 hoopings to quilt this entire thing. So what you would do is, magnetic hoops are great for this technique, but if you don't have a magnetic hoop, you can use a standard hoop. What you will do is put this in your hoop, and the batting helps stabilize everything. So you don't need additional stabilizer when you are using those particular designs. So whether you get an end-to-end design from Designs by Juju, let's say, or an edge-to-edge design, maybe from Embroidery Library, it's going to come with instructions and lots of different sizes of designs to choose from. So that's what I ended up doing, but you could certainly straight line quilt this, echo quilt it. You could just quilt the border. Um, have fun with it, right? It's a small size. You could drop the feed dogs and go free motion style, which is what I did for my hand embroidery version. I'll show you that in a moment. A meandering design. I see you, Susie. She says, I quilted it with a meandering design. So you can have lots of fun quilting this. What makes it even more fun, if I can find where I'm at here, is the thread that you can choose for your design. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, nope, that's way back there. Nope. Sorry, everyone. I apparently need not only stronger glasses, but like magnifiers to see these little thumbnails that I put in here for our event. Let's see. Maybe it's this one. Oh, that's showing it after it's been quilted and trimmed, so I'm getting closer. Bear with me. Oh, here's our quilt sandwich so you could see the backing fabric. And then, oh, trimming it up. Goodness, where is it? Okay. Maybe I don't have a picture of it. Maybe we will stumble upon it momentarily. Anyways, the thread included is a 30 weight cotton blendables thread, which I love using for quilting because you get lots of different colors across your fabric with just one spool. Can you see all those different colors of thread in my quilting design? And it's very subtle. It's not these chunks of color like a variegated thread. It's a blended color across the length and width of your quilt. All right. So once your quilting is done, however you choose to quilt yours, you'll need to trim it up so that the backing and backing and batting are all even with your quilt top. Oh my gosh. There's the picture I was looking for. This is the blendables thread color that came with the mystery box, and it just goes with all of these fabric colors so perfectly with the greens and the peaches and the off-whites. It was just like, love it. Let's see. Someone is asking, did you quilt right over the embroidery? Yes, I did. I know that's a little bit nerve-wracking. I know after you finish this beautiful embroidery to just quilt over the top of it. But that is what I did. And I love it. You can still really see the design. The quilting doesn't compete with it. You can see it's going over some portions of the design. You can also lengthen your stitch length if you are planning to do like an all over quilting design that's not digitized. And that will help your embroidery still stand out really well. But if you aren't using an embroidery design or an edge-to-edge design, something like that, a digitized quilting design, then you can carefully avoid all of your embroidery and not sew over the top of it. All right. So, sorry, that was a little bit out of order, and I apologize, but I'm glad I found that photo because you can really see the beautiful shades of color and how they coordinate with this fabric line. All right, so now we have our mini quilts all trimmed up and ready for binding. So typically when we do a quilt kit or even like a quilty project kit, oftentimes we don't include the binding fabric, especially for a project like this that's rather small. We kind of assume or hope that you have some fabrics in your stash or maybe some pre-made binding if you like using pre-made binding. And that way you can kind of add your own personality to the final step of your project. But in this case, Art Gallery Fabrics has these really cool binding fabrics. They are fabrics that come on, by the yard, but they have these stripes on them, and they have dotted lines on them that denote your cutting lines for perfect 2.5-inch wide binding strips. Genius. The more fun thing about this is you could see there's this green strip of color on one side of the strip, and then there's this kind of off-white. And then within those color blocks, there's two different motifs. So you could see on the green, I'm just going to blow this picture up a little bit so you can see better. On the green, you can see on one edge of the green is this cute little flower motif. On the other edge of the green are these cute little gardening motifs, right? Hence the garden party theme we're going for here. And then on the off-white area, you see these cute little duckies or geese in a row. And then on the other side, you have these cute little tulips. So this gives you tons of options for what you would like to showcase on your binding. You could sew your strips together and then have one long binding piece, and then choose, first off, do you want green binding or do you want off-white binding? Secondly, do you want to showcase the cute little geese on the front side of your quilt or the back side? Or do you want to showcase the cute little green floral print on the front side or the back side? So many options with this great binding. So first off, we need to piece together the binding strips. So with the mystery box, you got a section of this by the yard that you could piece together to have one long binding strip. Very important when you're piecing it together. First off, put your binding strips perpendicular to each other. And then you're going to sew along the diagonal so that when you open it up, all of your colors match and the orientation of your motifs also needs to match. All right. So we go ahead and sew along that diagonal line. Notice how I have a seam allowance included, right? Instead of putting my strips, what can I show you this? I have two command strips right here. I'll show you this. Instead of putting our pieces like this so that our ends match, we would have no seam allowance when we go to open up our binding. So we need to offset our strips like this and sew from diagonal corner to corner. That way we have a seam allowance, and when we go to open it up, our strip goes straight across. All right, so we've sewn along that line, and then we are going to trim off the excess, right? So now we have little dog ear points that we can also trim off once we open up our binding to the right side. So now we have a continuous binding strip that's long enough to bind our entire mini quilt. And notice how my motifs are all in the same correct orientation and everything's flowing nicely. Now we can press that open and use our binding. So what I did was I kind of auditioned the color of binding against my finished quilt top. So notice how I have the green strip facing out. This is just to audition. Do I want to showcase that green? It's very prominent. Or do I want to showcase the off-white side? So in order to do this, first, after piecing together our binding, then we need to fold it in half lengthwise and press along the entire length of binding. And what's great about this art gallery fabric print is you can see exactly where you need to fold it. You will be folding it directly in half, but it really helps to have that color differentiation to have a nice, flat, straight binding strip. Those folks are genius. All right, so I liked this subtle, more off-white better than I liked the green. It just kind of flowed a little bit better for me. But then I did the opposite for my hand embroidery version, and I featured the green fabric. So I'll show that to you momentarily. I just found a thread end sticking out from my sample, and I have to trim it immediately. Okay, so now that we've decided what color we want to showcase on the mini quilt binding, then we can start applying it. So then you will apply it right sides facing. And what I did was I sewed it to the backing first, then I flipped it to the right side, mitered all my corners as I reached them, and then I top stitched my binding down from the right side. You might want to do the opposite and first stitch your binding to the right side or your pieced quilt top, then fold it to the wrong side and either hand sew that shut or maybe choose a decorative stitch on your machine like a blanket stitch to sew your binding by machine. So however you like to do your binding, that's up to you. There's so many schools of thought on binding, and it really goes down to personal preference. All right, so now you can see I have folded my binding toward the right side and I'm just top stitching it down. And that's all there is to it. Your mini quilt is finished. So this is the machine embroidery version. These are the 3 rayon thread colors that came with purchase of our spring mystery box. Again, that is all sold out. So now we are offering this machine embroidery design for purchase. And with purchase of the machine embroidery design, you also get the full mini quilt PDF pattern included. So really great. Love it. So if you don't have an embroidery machine, you can grab up the hand embroidery design for Let Your Dreams Grow. With the mystery box, the hand embroidery design was pre-printed onto a sheet of Sulky Stick and Stitch stabilizer. This is our wash away fabric-like stabilizer that you can print in your home printer, any design that you choose. So Let Your Dreams Grow hand embroidery design looks like this. It comes as a line art design so that you can print it. And then it also comes in color so that you can see the intended colors of the design. But you could honestly use whatever Sulky 12-weight cotton petites thread you prefer for your fabric choices or what have you. So again, if you grab up the hand embroidery design, you will also need some stick and stitch so that you can transfer the design to your beautiful fabrics without having to mark up your fabrics. Because when our design is complete, we're just going to wash away all that stabilizer. It'll be like it never existed. All right. So once you have printed that design, you'll cut it out, leaving a bit of a border, and then apply this as a sticker transfer sheet right on to the fabric right side. I hooped up my fabric and just centered my hand embroidery design on it. And then I was ready for stitching. So you'll want to sew through all layers, right? Through that sticker sheet, through your fabric. And you'll want to use Sulky 12-weight cotton petites thread. I used 2 strands of thread so that I got great coverage for all of the many, many fill stitches that I added to this design. But you could also just outline all of the lettering in different colors if you didn't want to fill those letters with stitches. I chose a variety of hand embroidery stitches. I did some French knots, I did some long and short stitches, all sorts of things. I was really just having fun with it and experimenting. I did some lazy daisies, some stem stitches for all of those flower stems. So it's really up to you how much or how little thread you want to add to the design. But 1 strand of Sulky 12-weight cotton petites thread is equal to 2 strands of embroidery floss. So by using 2 strands of the thread, I'm getting coverage of 4 strands of traditional floss. Okay. Once all of your embroidery is complete, oh, here you can see my long and short stitches, or this might be more of like a basket weave stitch. I can't remember. Once all of your embroidery is complete, you will rinse away your stabilizer under warm running water. Very important that you are letting the water run off of the project rather than soaking your project in a bucket of water or a sink full of water. Reason being is that, especially when you're using lightweight fabrics like this in a lighter color, we don't want the ink from our transfer sheet, from our home printer or what have you, we don't want that ink to transfer onto our fabric during the stabilizer removal process. So when you are allowing the water to run off of your project, the product and the ink is also running off of your project. If it were to sit in a bowl of water or sink, something like this, the stabilizer can sort of lift up and out and off of the fabric, and then, God forbid, it flips over and goes onto another portion of your beautiful fabric, and then you might have some ink transfer that happens. Now, if that does end up happening because your stabilizer is overly saturated with ink, or just by chance that happened, I recommend using that Grandma's spot remover. Does everybody know that product? It's a couple bucks. I know, like at my Hobby Lobby, they have it on the cutting table. Comes in a little squeeze bottle. It's relatively inexpensive. You don't need a lot of it. Apply that with a little cotton swab or even just your finger, and kind of scratch it into the fabric so that it gets into the fibers. Let it sit and then rinse it away and your ink should come off. So just in case, if that does happen, or if you notice that maybe some of your ink isn't rinsing away fully from your thread, try a little bit of spot remover or just rinse it away again until it is fully removed. Then, of course, let your fabric dry, go through the whole process of creating your mini quilt block, and then you have a Let Your Dreams Grow hand embroidery mini quilt version. So this would look really pretty on a tea towel. It would even look really cute on a t-shirt, that machine embroidery design. You can use it again and again. You don't have to use this design on a mini quilt. There's so many different ways of displaying it. And actually, over the graduation sort of season, right, that we just had a couple weeks ago, I just thought this was a great motivational phrase for recent graduates, or even people starting school in the fall, maybe even for teachers who are, starting a new career path, or just motivation for your crafty sewing room. It's just a really beautiful design in all of these great spring and summer colors. You can see these are the 3 12-weight cotton petites thread colors that were also included in our spring box. So I am pleased to announce that I set aside one spring mystery box, and I'm going to give it away today, right here on So What, to one lucky viewer who is watching, commenting, giving me those great emojis. All you have to do is somehow engage with the post today. Just say, hello, what's up, something like that in the comments. And you also need to have liked our Sulky Facebook page if you're watching from there, or subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching from there. And that way I can personally contact you if you are the winner. So you will be receiving our spring mystery box, which I just told you everything that was inside. You can create either the hand embroidered mini quilts or the machine embroidered mini quilts. And there is also a plethora of inspiration for other things you can create using the fabrics, the threads, the supplies, the notions, the gift items, everything else that was included in that box, the stabilizers, all of it. Tons of inspiration on the landing page that we create for every single mystery box. So, isn't that exciting? A whole mystery box free for somebody today who's watching, commenting, giving me those great emojis. So $49.99 retail value, or special value, actually. That mystery box had an over $78 retail value to it for $49.99. I know. So look out. Keep your eyes peeled. That's a little bit of a hint. Keep your eyes peeled for our summer mystery box, which is going to be coming at you on the first day of summer. And I'm looking forward to giving you all a little bit of a leg up to be able to purchase your box ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we have any questions that have come in. If you do have a question for me about today's projects or just about something that you're sewing, go ahead and put it in the live chat and we will address those questions. Pat says, will this video be available for later viewing? Yes, Pat. We have a Sew What playlist on our YouTube channel, and you can head on over there and watch on YouTube at your leisure. Also, all of our Sew What videos remain on Facebook for quite some time. You just kind of have to scroll our feed to find them. And then you can start over from the beginning and fast forward and, pause and all those things if you need to. All right. Does it count if you're watching on TV and just signed on? Yep. Anybody who I can contact because they have liked our Facebook page or subscribed to our YouTube channel and somehow are commenting, liking, or sharing out the post, that's all you need to do to be automatically eligible to win today's gift from Sulky. Lisa says, can you still purchase the spring mystery box? Unfortunately, no. Our spring mystery box is all sold out. I just saved that one box aside to give away today, but you can definitely grab up our summer box when it becomes available in a few short weeks. And that will be a whole new set of materials, supplies, notions, and gifts, and lots of exclusive project ideas. So we never give away the projects that are revealed or that are inside of our mystery boxes until those boxes sell out. So that's why I'm bringing you the Let Your Dreams Grow projects today. All right, let's see. I know we had some other questions. Oh, Maureen says, when do you add a hanger when putting on the binding? Great question. So if you do want to add a little casing or a hanger sleeve to the back of your mini quilts, what I do, I didn't do it on the samples, but you probably have some leftover binding actually that you could use for this. What I do is I fold a strip of fabric in half lengthwise. Make sure to fold in your raw ends. I like to just top stitch those down so they don't come loose. Then fold that in half so you have a little casing. Match the raw long edges. And what I do is I center it along the quilt back, along the upper edge center of the quilt back, so that the raw edges are aligned with the raw edges of the quilt. And then when I fold or stitch my binding to that edge, it's going to catch the raw edge of my sleeve or my casing, okay? So then it's kind of flapping around, right? So you can do a couple of things. You can just fold it up and hang it from that sleeve, which would expose the sleeve along the upper edge of your mini quilts, or you can hand sew the lower edge fold of that binding sleeve, hand sew it, just whip stitch it through only the quilt backing layer. And that way it'll tack it down and your sleeve will be only along this edge and not showing above the binding seam or the binding fold. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. Let's see. Oh, Mary says, you truly make it look so easy. Thank you. It is easy. My favorite quote about sewing is, life is hard, sewing is easy. That quote is by one of my good friends, Liesl Gibson, and I will never forget it. I love that quilt. Why do I keep saying quilt? I love that quote. All right, let's see. Dee says, so much fun. The fabrics are cute. Love these fabrics. I've been seeing this fabric collection, or was seeing it all summer long from Art Gallery on their social media. And I was just like, I'm so glad we grabbed up some of this fabric before it's gone. All right, let's see. Yes, Grandma's Spot Remover. Lots of people saying they love that as well. Perfect. Maureen says, I love the mystery boxes. Can't wait for the summer one. When do you sleep? That's a great question, Barb. You know what? Even when I'm sleeping, I'm thinking about sewing projects. It's just, I'm just so passionate about it and I love it so much. So, oh, Sue says, I can't believe you didn't hand sew your binding on. I feel you, Sue. Speaking of sleeping, sometimes I will take a shortcut. I had to make 2 of these samples, curate that whole mystery box, work on videos and patterns for it. And so forgive me. I know I normally hand sew all of my bindings, especially for special quilts that I am gifting away. So I did take a shortcut machine sewing my binding. You caught me there, but you know, I don't do it very often. Oh, how do you hang your mini quilt on the wall? Thank you for asking that. So hopefully I answered that question by adding a little hanging sleeve. You can do that. You can also add a couple of little tabs to the inside or to the back of your quilt and then whip stitch just the little ties or little, what would you call them? Little loops, fabric loops, or even ribbon loops. You could add those before you finish up your final binding seam. You might not need an entire casing. You could just do a couple loops. Also, I hang my stuff off of a super heavy duty magnetic knife rack. Let's see if I can show you a little bit. There you go. And it has little clips that are magnetic. So that's how I hang my things in my studio, at least. But I could see if you would want, you know, this to be on maybe a garden hanger, something like that. You would either want a sleeve or some fabric or ribbon ties or tabs of some sort. All right, let's see. Susie Q says, I'm definitely watching this again. All right. Really need this new binding fabric option. I know, and it comes in a lot. You know, if you love a specific fabric line from Art Gallery, I'm guessing the 2.5-inch binding by the yard is also going to be part of that collection. So not only can you get it in different colors, but it coordinates with the fabric prints. It's just absolutely brilliant. Love them. All right. Donna says, I always machine sew my binding, hate hand sewing with a passion. All right, Donna. Donna's with me. I have to admit, I do prefer hand sewing binding. I do think it looks a lot nicer most of the time. But with this particular binding, you can really get an accurate seam. You could see how close I got to that edge. It might be easier to see on the green side. So you could see in my hand embroidery version, I went with the green binding. And I also first sewed it to the back and then I machine sewed it. But look how close I'm able to get to that edge. So it still looks really professional and nice looking. I think just the way that that binding is printed allows you to get a really nicer finish. No stretching or, weird folds because you're following the colors to cut your binding. So really nice. I will say it's not a bias binding, okay? So if you are binding something that has curved edges, this binding is not going to be your best choice because it is cut on the cross grain. It is not cut on the bias, in order to get those stripes. So something to note. All right, let's see. All right, I like sewing the binding on. You master it. Oh, thank you so much. Love it. All right. Well, I think I got to all of the questions today. Make sure to go on and grab the Let Your Dreams Grow machine embroidery design or hand embroidery design. Whichever one you choose will come with the Let Your Dreams Grow mini quilt pattern as well as a free gift with purchase of either one of those designs. Also, make sure to register for our Quilted Cork travel set summer sewing session. We're kicking off our summer sewing sessions with this beautiful quilted cork accessories set. You'll get this full-size wallet and this beautiful e-reader and tablet keeper. Our kits are going really fast, so especially if you're interested in that ocean ombre one, we really have very, very few of those left, so you'll need to grab one of those while you can. The postage stamp colorway, we have a little bit more of those available, but only a little bit more. So if you're on the fence, now is the time to grab up one of those kits so that you can join us next Tuesday for the official activation day of this Start Anytime on demand video sewing session. There's tons of videos that you can use for other sewing endeavors as well, not just specific to this project, but also complete start to finish tutorials in video form from the designer herself, which is Ashley Huff. You might know Ashley from the National Quilter Circle, maybe from Sew News Magazine or Creative Machine Embroidery. She's a really, really talented quilt designer, and she designed these two projects for our first summer sewing session of the season. So I hope you will all enjoy that. Make sure you're registered and grab up your kit. All right, Sharon says, got my kit. Looking forward to the kickoff. Got the postage stamp. That's the one I got too. So I'm ready as well. All right, thanks everybody for joining me today, and be sure to tune in next Tuesday for another So What.